This is a rare kind of question for the SAT vocab. Normally we're asked about words that we know very, very well but have many, many definitions. Here I think we're just being asked for the definition of postulate. So hopefully we know that. We should still go to the lines. I think that does give us some clues, so I'll try to highlight what I see as maybe helpful. Going a little bit beforehand. In addition, immunocompromised or nutritionally deficient bees may be further weakened when commercially produced insecticides are introduced into their hives by beekeepers in an effort to fight mite infestation. We further postulate that the proper dosage necessary to prevent mite infestation may be better left to the bees, who may seek out or avoid pyrethrum-containing plants depending on the amount necessary to defend against mites and the amount already consumed by the bees, which in higher doses could be potentially toxic to them. So we also kind of had other questions about these lines, and one of the things that we learned from those other questions was that we're really talking about what it is that these scientists are guessing. So this is a fun little thing. Normally, remember, I come up with a guess for what I think my word means. In this case, my guess is guess, right? So I think that they're saying we further guess that the proper dosage necessary to prevent mite infestation may be better left to the bees. And I highlighted all those mays because that's a repeated phrase, and it seems to be reinforced, and repetition reinforces things on the SAT, and so they're basically saying we're not sure, but we're guessing about this thing. It's maybe an educated guess, but it's a guess. And so when we go to the choices, we also want to think about tone. That can help us too. So choice A, make an unfounded assumption. Yeah, an assumption might be a guess, but unfounded is a very strong word. It means that something has no basis in evidence. It's a complete guess. This doesn't seem to be that way. I don't know that there's necessarily like a particular word here that I'd point out, but the whole passage is talking about, experiments and theories. It's not random what they're coming up with here. They have reasons behind it. So unfounded goes too far. Whereas B, put forth an idea or claim, well, yeah, it's a guess. It's something that they're saying. It's not completely unfounded. They don't even really get into that in that choice, which is good. But yeah, I would say if A is strong, then B is weak, right? They're very similar choices in a way. They both kind of mean in different ways. They mean the same thing, guess, or hypothesis. But one is adding more on top of that definition, and one is trying to stay as simply as possible. And we like those simple, weaker definitions, mostly because they're less likely to cause a problem. Let's keep going. Let's look at C. Question a belief or theory. Well, no, they're not questioning anything. They're putting forth the belief, right? They're the ones saying, we further postulate, right? So they're not questioning someone else's idea. And they're not concluding based on firm evidence. So again, this is very strong, right? Firm evidence. That word is very strong, and it would cause a problem in any SAT question, and even on vocab. We've got to watch out for those ideas that, really require evidence for us to prove them and to accept them. And so B, I can actually do the same thing here. So in A, I might say, well, do I have evidence that the assumption is unfounded? In D, I might say, well, if there's firm evidence, then I should be able to find the evidence. In both cases, I'd be left hanging, right? I can't answer those questions. Why is it unfounded? Where's the firm evidence? I got nothing. But in C, if I turn those words into a question, it's much easier to answer it, right? What's the idea or claim? Well, proper dosage necessary to prevent mite infestation may be better left to the bees. That's a claim. Are they putting it forth? Yeah, by saying it, they're putting it forth, right? So if I do the same tests on this weak choice that I do on the strong choices, I have a much different response, right? The strong ones, I'm left without any lines to point to justify the strong words. The weak one, I can justify it very easily with what's there. And so that's the confidence I needed to get this question right. But this is unusual. I do want to stress that. Most of the time, they're not going to ask about a word like postulate that we might not know. They're more going to ask about words we do know, but that are being used in a weird way. To me, this is just a definition. Like, this is what it means to postulate something. So if you knew that word, you knew that definition, I guess you got it right, but we don't need it. We can still get it based on context. Always that's going to be the case with the reading vocab.